Welcome to the 4th annual Draper competition for collegiate women entrepreneurs.
As Kermit the Frog would say, it isn't easy being green. For instance, our friend Aisha wants to support local farms, but she can't find the information she needs. Meanwhile, Peter and Kathleen have moved into a new town and they're looking for green businesses to support. Making these green consumption choices can be time-intensive and a research burden, sometimes not worth the trouble.
We create stylish and functional medical accessories that ease patients' treatment and build confidence. Our first product is inspired out of my own battle with chronic neurological Lyme disease, where I had to go to class for 6 months with a PICC line in my arm, a peripherally inserted central catheter. Our first product works like this. It's a two-way fold design, reinforced with medical-grade elastic. The extension tubing allows for patients to do their treatment without having to expose their unsightly insertion site. When they're done, they can wrap their cover back up and they're good to go.
Doorbell is a resident portal that focuses on making your life in a building awesome, and we are targeting the 28 million households in multifamily buildings.
Hi, my name is Slim Mudhakana and I'm the co-founder at Weaving for Peace. In my business, we're empowering vulnerable women in Rwanda who have been affected by HIV/AIDS and living in poverty, and simultaneously creating a whole new textile industry in Rwanda.
How many times have you been driving and out of a sudden you don't realize that there's a runner or a cyclist or even a pedestrian? So at EV Active, we absolutely love to create solutions. We've incorporated fashion and technology to create safety.
80% of extra virgin olive oil with a Made in Italy label is sold as pure, but it's not. When you buy olive oil from Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, your local market, it's expensive, and in the end, you're still getting a blended product. Instead, what if you could adopt an olive tree, support an organic farmer, and receive 4 to 6 personalized bottles of the gold of Rome delivered to your doorstep?
If a farm girl makes it to college in Ethiopia, she's on her own, and the sex trade is her only employment option. As a solution, we introduced the first nationally scalable model of work study to Hawassa University, Ethiopia this past summer. We opened a print shop to serve 42,000 students, and in 7 months, we have a net profit margins of 18%. The key part of our mission is to provide empowerment along with financial resources.
Between 2010 and 2013, only 3 out of 1,009 students were admitted to a national high school. And in order to help improve their scores, I created the first library in Tinganga village and the first in the country to serve a consortium of 4 primary schools with over 3,000 students. As a student who's going now to a college that has a well-resourced library, I understand how these resources can transform somebody's life, and that is my goal for Tinganga kids.
Adwala seeks to bridge the gap between these two different options that are available for Ghanaian women. Firstly, Adwala seeks to design and produce its own clothing using local artisans and women in rural villages to support the production of fashionable and affordable clothing. Secondly, we hope to work through our resource database of tailors, local independent tailors in the country, to be able to refer clients who are seeking custom-made clothing options to the right tailor to be able to be assured of quality in the clothing that is being produced.
Pokhara, a city in Nepal with a population of 300,000 people, lacks an efficient, trustworthy postal system. Growing up in Pokhara, I would travel to the nearest electricity office every month to pay the electricity bill for my house, and this process took me between 3 to 6 hours. And this is a struggle people of Pokhara face on a daily basis. In order to tackle this issue, we will develop Urban, a delivery system that hires local community members who will deliver parcels and payments for bills for citizens living within Pokhara, and this will also increase labor market participation.
We're Tutor Town, an online platform that promotes academic excellence and peer mentoring by connecting parents to local, qualified, and affordable tutors. Last year, my sister Tahia was preparing for her middle school admission test. With college applications, I didn't have time to help her, and my mom doesn't know English. We desperately needed a tutor. We explored websites like care.com, but their featured tutors were too expensive. What we and people like us needed was Tutor Town. We're different. because we use highly qualified undergraduates who charge lower rates.
Have you talked to any vendors and restaurants and the services that you'll be featuring to ask them?
Yeah,
if they would be
absolutely.
featured?
We initially started by talking to users, but a lot of this idea sparked from several conversations with restaurant managers who have what they consider green businesses, but they don't think that their users are necessarily coming there for the green image. So they are wondering how to get around that.
Can you please explain your business model and your go-to-market strategy? How are you going to make money
Sure.
on this?
So I returned this morning from Washington, D.C. We are becoming the authority with the patients from the patient perspective. So we are influencing the nurses who have a direct relationship with the patient. And then the nurses actually recommend our product to the patients at the bedside.
For this, is it important that you displace an existing property management application, or can there be sort of a groundswell of support from the people that live in the building, or both? What is more important, and what are you going to emphasize first?
Sure. So we are actually testing in 2 buildings on Friday in Cambridge, and that approach is user up, and that's just because we are starting out in terms of traction. We need a larger user base to kind of test, what is going to be the most attractive option in the future.
How are you recruiting the women who you are teaching to weave, and who are your trainers if this is a new industry in Rwanda?
So right now we have partnered with Chaba, Children Affected by HIV/AIDS nonprofit, and they are looking for organization or businesses who can train their young women who have no skills, who are not participating in the work industry.
Fashion is notoriously tough, and there are bodies strewn all along the way from, you can think of the names that are no longer around, and leading brands that have had problems like Lululemon. So talk to us about how you're going to stand out from the crowd, how you're going to really make an impact on your target market, and why will they buy you and not someone else?
Absolutely. So just to start with, nobody else is doing LED lights for runners, and we will have the first mover advantage. When it comes to fashion, right now what we're doing is that we have a team specific of students that are working in the trends of the industry and trying to incorporate them into the jacket.
Have you calculated your total addressable market? Do you know how big it is?
We're selling you more of an experience, so the market is pretty big. It's not just the person who wants to enjoy good food, but it's also somebody who might want to be interested in tourism or a unique experience. So we would go through food magazines. We would also go through tourist organizations, so it's pretty diverse.
What kind of funders have you talked to in terms of global NGOs or people that could fund you through grants? Have you done any grant applications?
So I am looking to do lots of grant application. Most of them require 501c3 status, but I'm seeking for grant applications. I'm in the Valley Venture Mentors Accelerator program to get it started, to get it into a medium print shop level.
Do you have a vision to move to more e-readers in the future, or are you focused primarily on actual books?
Yeah, with the information and technology, I thought about it, but that would require also training the teachers how to use this internet, and also having schools where having electricity, which is also something that the government has to do.
Will the clothing always be bespoke, or will you ever manufacture it actually with machines, et cetera, to scale the enterprise?
So currently there are some clothes that are already produced, and that is what we will have in the mass production line. So with the local artisans, we will have clothes that have already been designed, will be made for different sizes that you can find either online or at pop-up shops.
What do you think your biggest challenge will be once you start the business?
I think it would be having people actually trust a new system, because people currently believe that a postal system cannot be trusted. So we need to come in and reassure them that although the government services don't work, we'll be able to do a good job.
So you're building a marketplace, which means you need to recruit students to be tutors, and you also need to get the parents to post the jobs for the students to want to be tutors. How do you plan to do both simultaneously?
So for tutors, a great way we can get a lot of tutors is from partnering up with our education department. So education classes requires their tutors to go to the community and do some teaching services. So this is a great way that tutors can serve and also get paid.
Thank you all so much for coming and competing. It really is my husband and my wish that Smith students are, and now we've expanded to how many colleges? I mean, pretty exciting. Have an opportunity to create something they want to do while they're still in college. And as was said before, you have the opportunity of failing and having a lot of helpful advice and refocusing and understanding how you want to pursue the rest of your life. So that really is the objective of this competition.